So I've standardised now my seasons to run from October to October, because the first 3 seasons seem to start and end sometime in September, sometime. So now I've standardised them, and I've sort of look, October we begin again. So I think we're starting our 4th season now. So that means I've been doing these prediction videos for 4 years. And to help us on our way, we've got a card which I have heard very little about and don't really care about, with at least with the main event. It's Travis Browne versus Bigfoot, somebody or other. So we have a stand-up war for the main event, which is of course what the UFC like to promote. A good heavyweight slugfest, and we've got Antonio Silva, and we've got Travis Browne is the other guy. Not a lot in it in record. 16-4 for Silva. Perfect record of 13 for Travis Browne, if you don't count the draw that happened with Cheick Kongo about 5 fights ago. Interesting this, because Travis Browne basically has a perfect record bar that draw, and Antonio does not. Antonio is a recent import from Strikeforce. Before then you may have known him in K1 or Elite XC, and his record recently: loss, win, 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 loss, loss. So he's coming off 2 losses. I have to say that I think Travis Browne will win this. I'll go for TKO in the 2nd. The next fight on the card is Aaron Simpson and Mike Pierce. These are stand-up strikers that at the moment always win by decision. In fact, Mike Simpson, no such person I hope, Mike Pierce, 14-5, he tends to win by split decision. And Aaron Simpson is 12-3. Aaron has faced better calibers, I think. I have to say I might go for Aaron Simpson here, and I might say, just you know, mess things up, I might go for split decision. So you might ask yourself why Carlo Prata is at the very bottom of a card, given that he has a long sort of standing record, including Shine and WEC at one point by the looks of it, yes, and etc, etc. Well, his record win-loss since being in the UFC includes a decision loss to TJ Grant and a win over Eric Silva only because Mario Yamazaki had forgotten his spectacles. He's fighting Marcus Leves something or other. And I have to say, I think this is a bit of a squash match. Marcus this is not his debut, but it may as well be. He's a stand-up fighter who can also do submissions, but having said that, his loss in his debut was to Cody McKenzie by guillotine. So I think this is a squash match in disguise for Carlo Prata to raise him back up to the heights, and I happen to think that he'll probably win. I shall go for a bar submission in the 1st. Now here's a turn-up for the books. Here is an English guy. His record is 21-9. He's a flyweight with 13 submission victories. You may have seen him on and off, I suppose, in Bama, but he doesn't seem to fight in one place for anywhere very long, and I have to say I've never seen him in Cage Gladiators either. This is Phil Harris, and he, with a record of 21-9, is fighting Darren what is it? Oyama, from with a record of 7-3. Now, Darren does manage to beat high calibers, but I have to say, I think they are hoping that Phil Harris does well here, and I can't see a good reason why he won't. I might go for a bar submission in the third. Diego Nunes is fighting Bart Palazewski. 17-3 for Diego, 36-15 for Bart. Diego Nunes has only lost 3 times. Those are all decision losses, but he does tend to lose to high calibers. So that's what I'm predicting this time. A decision win, therefore, for Bart. Now, in the case of Shane Roller and Jacob Volkmann, Shane Roller, record win, loss, win. He has sort of gone quite a long way up. Melvin Guillard, TJ Grant, for example. Whereas Jacob Volkmann, he's still on the rise with the better record. This one, I think, is actually a very, very hard one to call. I'm erring towards Jacob Volkmann on this. I think it'll be a decision victory, and I think that's one that could go either way. Another hard fight to call this. This is Thiago Tavares and Dennis Hallman. Dennis Hallman, 51-14, bit of a journeyman. He's been everywhere, but the top. Thiago Tavares, 17-4. And he's actually well up with submissions, which has been a strong point of Dennis Hallman. I don't know who will win this one, to be totally honest. I am a bit concerned that Dennis Hallman might have been past his prime. So on that basis, I'll go for Thiago Tavares by decision, I suppose. Michael Johnson versus Danny Castillo. I'm going for Danny Castillo on this one. Despite Michael Johnson with a record recently, loss, win, win. Danny Castillo has the better record, and he also, when he does win, doesn't have to win by decision. I'm going to go for a TKO victory in the third for Danny Castillo. And we've got Yves Edwards, 41-18, and Jeremy Stevens, 20-8. Neither with particularly brilliant records. Yves Edwards, despite the long record, is fighting minor calibers, and he's not doing too well there. Win-loss, win-loss. Jeremy Stevens, he is on a 2-fight loss streak. I see this as being a victory by decision, despite the fact that they are both well qualified in terms of striking, and Yves Edwards with submissions as well. I think that this will be a Jeremy Stevens decision. Justin Edwards is fighting Josh Neer. Justin Edwards has a record of 7-2. Josh Neer 33-11, and unfortunately Josh Neer specialises in finishes. 17 knockouts, 12 submissions. I think that he's not lost his edge yet, despite coming off a loss to Mike Pyle. I just feel that he might. I'm going to go for a TKO in the third with Josh Neer. Fortunately for me, this Jussier da Silva, who's fighting John Dodson, is a bit of a unknown. He seems to have a long background in Shooto, of winning as well. Those started off being decision, but he started to finish people there, and he's making his debut. John Dodson is on a 4-fight win streak here, 2 of which have been in the UFC since Tough. And I don't know if I just don't know enough about Jussier da Silva to know. I'm going to have to therefore go for John Dodson, just because I'm not sure, but that could be a bit foolish. Now, Jay Heron hasn't been seen in the UFC since October the 3rd, 2006. he fought Jonathan Goulet and lost by TKO. Before that, he was in the UFC again for a one stinter, back in UFC 48, 2004. Unfortunately for him, he was fighting Georges St. Pierre, so that was a TKO loss. Oh my god. Georges managed to finish somebody. Yes. He has been very well known from the IFL circuit, and he was in Affliction, and Strikeforce, and Bellator, so that's why he's sort of pretty well known, and his record 23-5 is not bad, although he tends to win by decision. Jake Ellenberger, one of those people who does very, very well. There's win streaks coming out of his ears until he hits somebody who is nigh on contendership level, and then he doesn't do so well. Rick Story, when Rick Story was up there, Carlos Condit, Martin Campman, but everybody else he does exceedingly well with. Now this is Jay Heron's debut, well, debut if you don't count the fact that there's been about 6 years since the last time he was here. And Jake Ellenberger, in fact, has got a better record. I think I will go for Jake Ellenberger here, but I might go for decision, because I'll say that, you know, Jay Heron has quite a lot of experience in having been sort of around, if that doesn't make him sound too much like some sort of contagious disease. So there we are.